Jamie Dornan and Amelia Warner admit Dakota had nothing to do with divorce. Dakota Johnson woke up Monday morning in her apartment in Los Feliz, Los Angeles, as the early autumn sunlight filtered through the trees, bathing the window curtains in a soft golden light. She took a sip of black coffee, her eyes looking out at the sleepy city, and suddenly her phone vibrated, a new email. Breaking news: Dakota Johnson, dragged into Jamie Dornan and Amelia Warner's divorce. The headline startled her. She sat up straight, her heart beating fast. The reason? In a recent interview, Jamie Dornan said that his breakup with Amelia was partly influenced by a third person that the media assumed was her, indirect words, but enough to create a stir. Dakota knew, for many years, that every word, every little suspicion was exploited and amplified, but this time, it seemed like things had gone beyond the threshold of tolerance. She texted her manager, but before that, she gathered her thoughts. She thought back to her friendship with Jamie. There were years they worked on projects together. There were times they talked, shared about art, about cinema. But nothing had ever crossed the line between work and friendship. And now, someone wanted to make her the centerpiece of a heartbreaking story that she didn't want. The manager's reply came quickly. Dakota, if you want, I'll contact PR to issue a rebuttal. But do you want to make a big deal out of it? She sighed. It wasn't just about PR. Making a big deal out of it could create a fuss, but keeping quiet could leave people to speculate. She wanted to make it clear that she didn't want to be blamed, didn't want to be the excuse to cover up the pain of two other people. That night, Dakota sat on the gray sofa in the living room, laptop on her lap, warm yellow light shining on her face. She wrote, I, Dakota Johnson, want to clarify that I was not the reason for Jamie Dornan and Amelia Warner's breakup. I have never acted beyond the humble limits of friendship. Using my name to explain someone's divorce is not only untrue, but also hurtful to all three of us. She drafted a letter to major newspapers, entertainment magazines, and posted it on her social media accounts, Instagram and Twitter. Then she paused, reviewed each word, making sure it was not offensive. The purpose was only one: to clarify the truth. The next morning, the internet was flooded with information about Dakota's statement. Entertainment news sites turned this news into a shock. Dakota Johnson responds to public opinion about the third-person suspicion, Jamie Dornan, accused of using Dakota's name to cover up the divorce. Amelia Warner was in England at the time. Jamie was preparing for a new movie in the US. Both were caught off guard by the media storm. They had a choice: to remain silent, or to respond. Amelia read the latest news while drinking afternoon tea in her old house in the Oxfordshire countryside. Her eyes were quiet. She clearly remembered the feeling of being doubted, of being questioned. She loved Jamie completely, but there were always disagreements and misunderstandings. Yet she, always patient, always trying to explain, was now buried in public opinion by a rumor whose source she did not know. She turned on her computer, found Dakota's article. The words were frank, but not hateful. She was touched. Amelia decided to write an email to Jamie Dornan, suggesting they meet via video call to talk frankly, to resolve the problem, to put an end to the misunderstanding. Jamie Dornan received the news while on a plane, from New York back to Los Angeles for a production meeting. He scrolled through his phone screen, saw the thumbnail, Jamie criticized for dragging Dakota into the divorce. He felt a weight on his chest, as if someone had placed a stone on it. Because he knew he had said something unclear in a previous interview, under pressure, and it had no doubt been interpreted by the media, placed in a context he did not want it to be. The plane landed, he called his lawyer, his PR team. But at the last minute, he decided that the right thing to do was to face it himself. He arranged a video call with Dakota, with Amelia present if she wanted. Dakota prepares for the call. She's in the studio, where she's just finished recording a song for an upcoming movie. The studio lights are dim, and she's worried. What if the conversation turns around after the call? But she's decided that honesty, however difficult, is the only way. The call is scheduled for the evening in Los Angeles, the morning for Amelia in England. Dakota, Jamie, and Amelia, all three sitting in front of a screen, the frame split into three. Dakota begins, "Thank you both for taking the time to talk. I want to start by saying that I'm sorry this rumor has affected everyone, especially Jamie and Amelia. I don't want to be the cause, the excuse, for something I had no part in." Jamie listens, his eyes apologetic. "I understand," he says. "I apologize if my words have caused others to misunderstand. I never meant to hold you, Dakota, responsible for what we decided was best for us." Amelia said softly, "Jamie and I didn't break up because of anyone outside. It was much more complicated than that. And I'm sad that you, Dakota, have to bear such a false reputation." Dakota leaned back in her chair, her eyes softening. "I know, I just want the truth to be clear. I'm not looking to accuse, to blame. I just want respect. I hope people will understand that this kind of behavior hurts not only me, but also you, and everyone who loves each other, who is struggling to live." The conversation lasted about an hour. They shared their feelings, words that had been quoted in the media, distorted. Jamie explained the context, that in the original interview, he only meant to talk about the feeling of disorientation, not personal criticism. Amelia said that she tried to deal with it silently, but every time she heard rumors about the third person, her heart ached. Dakota held her hand, her eyes slightly moist. "I don't want to be the broken piece that others use to hide their pain. I want to be myself, a friend if you want, or a complete stranger if that's more appropriate, but not an explanation for a breakup." Jamie nodded. He lowered his head and said softly, "You're right. I was wrong to let words that could be misunderstood go unchecked. I will ask reporters to correct it. I will ask every news site to report exactly what was said, because this goes beyond anyone's reputation, it's about the truth." Amelia added, "I will also make it clear from now on if anyone asks the same question. I don't want to keep quiet and let people continue to fabricate stories." They ended the call with a consensus. Jamie and Amelia would release a joint statement, confirming that Dakota Johnson was not the reason for the divorce. All decisions about their marriage and separation were theirs. Any connection to Dakota's name, if any, was just baseless speculation. Dakota would not make a legal claim, but she wanted fairness in the media. And she hoped that after the statement, people would stop dragging her into the story. The statement was sent to newspapers and media outlets. "We, Jamie Dornan and Amelia Warner, have agreed that the information suggesting Dakota Johnson was the reason behind the breakdown of our marriage is completely false. Dakota had no role in the decision to separate. We sincerely apologize if she was hurt by our previous statements." The major article published the apology, with a more honest headline. Jamie Dornan and Amelia Warner confirmed Dakota Johnson had nothing to do with the divorce. The online community received a variety of reactions. Some supported Dakota, praising her for speaking out. Others criticized the media for always preferring drama to the truth. She went home that evening, looking out at the city from the balcony. The cool night breeze blew in, carrying the sound of cars and distant noises. Dakota felt relieved, because even though she was not perfect, she had done what she thought was right. She knew there were still people who didn't believe her, who talked behind her back, but at least she didn't stay silent. The next day, Jamie posted on social media, without editing, just the message, I'm so sorry to Dakota for any pain you've suffered because of my words. Amelia also wrote, "We're not perfect. But the truth is the most important thing right now." Time passed, things calmed down. New news came in, new movies, new projects overshadowed the old. Dakota continued to work, films, events, art. Jamie and Amelia each went their separate ways, but maintained mutual respect, especially in treating the past with honesty. Late one night, Dakota received a message from Amelia, "Thank you again. I couldn't say I appreciate you more." Dakota simply replied, "I just hope everyone can live with the truth and peace." Answer: in a world where rumors travel faster than light, where every word can be twisted and turned, Dakota Johnson chose to confront. She didn't make a scene, didn't scream, didn't wage a media war. She just spoke the truth, demanded respect, insisted that she wasn't the cause of anyone else's sadness. And in this fictional story, that's what forces people, no matter how painful, to reach the truth, and from there begin to heal.